Live. I wanted to let you know this is my last post from Western New York, outside of Buffalo, in a small town, Eden, New York, where I grew up. I've been in my mom's house, helping her get organized and set up. It's been a long, long, long journey. And tomorrow I head back to Denver. So I thought I would do one last post in my mom's house. I'm in my bedroom, as I said before, with my little small twin bed. Can't wait to get back to my own bed. But the good news is I want you to know that we found care for my mom. It looks like it's going to work out really, really well. And we have a game plan. So, thank you for all of you who have sent me messages and notes and suggestions as it relates to caring for an aging parent. We all have so much to learn from each other. And so I'm so grateful for what you have shared. But as I was cleaning my mom's house, you won't believe this, I ran into my first passbook savings account. It's a little booklet from Marine Bank and Trust. And the first entry was in 1963, where I deposited $1. And then a year later, around the same time, around my birthday, I deposited another $1. And then a year later, I deposited $2. So I don't know if this was taking all my change from birthday or what I could scavenge and find. But there was a series of 10 years where after 10 years, I had about 19 bucks. So it was interesting to see how I started out on a good path related to money and then messed up down the road. And what happened is, many of you may know this, but my parents got divorced when I was 14. And so my passbook savings account, you can see like in the 70s, all of a sudden $30 got taken out, withdrawn, and another $30 got withdrawn maybe several weeks later. So I think it was a place for my mom to get money for groceries when she needed to put food on the table. And so the money actually was never really mine, and I felt like it was never really mine. And so I think I created a money story around that made it really difficult for me when I went off to college to be successful around money. And I ended up having enormous school loans after I graduated from college and ultimately defaulted on those school loans. That's part of my money story that some of you may have heard me share, but I was a mess when it came to money. And so coming into finding that passbook savings account, it reminded me and to talk about like, what does it take? Really? No, really, what does it take to be successful around money and retirement planning? Because if I could do it, let me tell you, anyone can do it. Anyone. And so don't get caught up in scarcity thinking you don't have enough money to invest now, or worse, you don't have the energy or the mentality to put any energy into it, and have your head in the sand. Because I've done both. I get how easy it is to tell that story. And I just want to encourage you to hear what I have to say today in terms of some of the things I've done and what I've noticed others have done to allow for money success. So the first tool to set up for yourself is really your mindset. I say that all the time, how important mindset is, and that believing that you can and believing that you're worth it. I had a girlfriend who put money on my college school loan account. And when I saw the balance go down, I realized, wow, someone cared anonymously. Someone cared more about me than I cared about me around money. And that was my first pause to really get an understanding of why was my head in the sand and why did I not think I was worth it? Because if you think about life, you're 100% responsible for the results in your life. 100%. A lot of things happen, a lot of events happen, but you have the choice on how you respond to those events. And so the more you recognize the results are as because of the decisions that you make, the choices that you make, the better off you'll be around money. And that's the first time I started to recognize that in my, quite frankly, mid-20s. So that was my first. I had a paradigm shift when that friend made that deposit on my account. And that shift was that I was worthy enough to care. And then throughout the years, I've had different set points that raised my bar. to allow me to do more, that I could do more, that I was capable of more. And so we all have like a car meter for fuel. We all have where we feel comfortable. And the more you push that to raise that bar, I think the more successful you'll be around money, because you'll start to realize, wow, you can save even more than you really thought you could. So the very first tool is really get the mindset in place that you deserve it and you're worthy, and you can make a huge difference in your life by just starting. And the second is automation. When I got my first job, like I said, in my 20s, is when I first started to save. And I saved through a local credit union, and it came out of my paycheck every pay period. I started out with $50. We didn't have a qualified plan or 401k plan at the time. And that turned into ultimately $300 a month or $150 a paycheck, because I would keep increasing it. And I wouldn't think about it because it came out automated first. Those of you who have an employer retirement plan, 401k plan, 403b, absolutely participate, at least at the match, if you have an employer match at the minimum. Ideally, you should be at 10 to 15%. We used to say 10, now we say 15. So if you can automate a retirement plan, and those of you who are self-employed and work in the gig economy, set up a simplified employee pension account called a SEP, or an individual IRA. And there are places to do that. Again, in automation, and what's been happening in finance is now there are robo advisory firms where it's a digital platform that you can automatically have it come out of your checking account, and they will invest it for you. You don't have to do anything. You could start with $50, and they will create the investment based on your risk tolerance. And you could answer some questions to determine how aggressive you want to be, and then set it up, ignore it. Set it and forget it. If you start looking at it and messing with it, and when markets go like this and you touch it, it will be a mistake. So set it up, forget about it, and watch it grow. And that's what I did starting out with my credit union. And then I did eventually have a qualified plan. And I'll never forget the first time that I had $5,000 in there. And I remember telling my mom, I got $5,000. And quite frankly, at the time, I don't even think she had $5,000 in her account. And then I remember when I had $25,000. And again, who do I tell? My mom. I got $25,000. And then all of a sudden it was $100,000. That was a big one. And then $250,000, and then $500,000. And then when you ultimately hit that $1 million threshold, and you think, wow, I always wanted to be a millionaire. And all of a sudden you realize, wow, it doesn't really feel like I thought it would feel. And that's when you become an accidental millionaire. And that's the type of clients that we see that have just worked their butts off and just saved and saved and saved and ignored it. And that's how you get to your retirement dreams. Because once you get your mindset in place and you automate, then you don't have to think about the mechanics anymore. It's all about vision. It's all about thinking really big and watching it grow and having these great big goals, because you're not doing the how anymore. And once you set it up and forget it with some of these digital platforms, or hire an independent financial planner, you never go there again. You don't think about it anymore. And you just live. And it's hard to believe that it's that simple, because it seems so hard, because the hardest is to start, and then the hardest is to leave it alone. Because if you are one of those people who have borrowed from your 401k, you know what it feels like. It's actually the worst place to go to get money. You think you're paying yourself back, but you pay it back with after-tax dollars, so it costs you more. And then you get taxed again. So the 401k, the retirement plan, is the very, very last place to go when you need money in a pinch. So set it up and forget it and watch it grow. And as it grows, that motivation is significant. That motivation allows you to dream big and create those different set points. Remember the paradigm shift, that you're worth it, that you deserve it, and then that wealth in your own mind of how you define it is big. And what does wealth mean to you? Of course, there's a dollar value to it, but there's also a well-being component to it, and understand how that fits in for you. So when I think about what is your money story, my passbook savings account and my $1 and $2 and $3, and how that changed in terms of starting out on the right foot, but then I created a different story in my mind that it wasn't my own money, and that I didn't deserve it by my school loans, and then recognizing how to automate, and then create really, really big vision. I think those 3 tools set in motion is the compounding effect of enormous success. So when you think about what is missing in your retirement planning objectives, do you have those things in place? I mean, we set up automatic bill pay. Why can't we set up automatic pay for ourselves? And then kind of what do you think would make your life easier as it relates to planning for retirement? We seem to complicate it so much when it doesn't need to be. So what are the things that make it really hard for you? And share that with us. And I just want you to know how much I so appreciate your time. Thank you for being with me in Eden, New York, and this last video from my bedroom. And I look forward to seeing you when I'm in Denver. Thank you.